welcome to the latest episode of the Time Pass podcast, TTPP. And today I have with me my friend Sarika Hussain, who's like an expert on AI, artificial intelligence, if you don't know already. And she runs her own YouTube channel, Sarika Speaks, which I'll share the link in my description below. And you must check that out. It's amazing and it's got like great insights on how we use AI and should we be scared of AI? You know, so many questions about AI. And while we're talking about AI, I am Archana Iyer. You can call me AI for the day. Okay, so without delaying, I want to explain to us the great AI.
Okay, great AI. I don't know about great, but definitely, yeah. Artificial intelligence actually, it's all about AI, and what it means is mimicking human behavior. It's as simple as that, and it has been influencing a lot of us in day-to-day life.
Yes, that's what I want
actually.
to ask you. Like, how are we getting influenced by AI, and how has AI sort of seeped into our lives these days?
Okay, so let's play a game.
Okay.
That's what I want to do right now. Is I'll give you list of 10 platforms or apps,
Okay.
and you just have to tell me whether you know about it or you might have used it. Okay.
Sure.
Alexa,
I haven't used it, but I know about it.
Siri,
Yeah,
Netflix,
of course.
YouTube,
Yeah, I mean.
Amazon,
Amazon too.
Swiggy,
हाँ,
Uber.
Yeah.
What else? We have. There are many more
Yeah.
such apps as well.
Tinder.
which Instagram, we are forgetting
yeah,
a bigger
Instagram
one.
again, our big following
Instagram.
comes from Instagram.
And maybe one more we can call is more about the stocks related, some apps you
Deserve
might have
and
used.
things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So if you have used or known about these apps, then definitely you are already influenced by AI.
Which is, yeah.
Okay, because all of these are at the back end are using AI for multiple things.
Okay.
But one thing which is majorly for which this is being used is to influence you, and the other thing is intimate you and make your decision making so easier that you get tempted to buy things. Okay, so now if I talk about Amazon is recommending all good products to you based on your past historical
My
data,
pattern,
how and
buying
the pattern, buying
yeah.
pattern, right? Apart from that, so there is in technical way how this recommendation, so they call it as recommendation system, and how does this work is, one is rightly you mentioned that based on the historical pattern how you have been, you yourself have been buying it, that's called as content based recommendation. There's other one which is called as collaborative based recommendation. Now what is collaborative? They actually look at your profile, your buying pattern, and someone who is similar, a kind of a profile or a person or a user who has a similar buying pattern, they actually replicate what all they have bought again back to you.
Oh my God.
That's another way how they influence. So sometimes you might think, I never bought this, but why did it was recommended to me? So, and then there are not just one or two Archana Iyer kind of a profile in this world, right? There are many, so they have a lot of options to recommend.
You're right, it's very spooky. Yesterday I saw one ad of Hussain kind of sale, and I went on their website, and I'm only getting bedsheet ads. All day I got bedsheet ads and some. I'm like, but yeah, I mean, it's not even like hidden, right? It's so blatant and it's so out there. Which brings me to your, I saw your NBC News piece about biases in AI. And it was a wonderful piece, and I'll share a little clip later, and I'll also share the link of the whole interview. But, we would assume that AI uses like data from everywhere, right? It's basically assimilating data and processing it, and so there are inherent, if you're saying that it's mimicking human behavior is riddled with bias and judgments. So how does that translate to AI, and tell us more about that.
Now bias is another evil that AI systems have been fighting for, and all the tech giants are actually working towards it to make it more transparent and having an equality
Yeah.
and equity in place, but it's a difficult task because our past have been
Yeah.
unbiased, I would say. And I won't say that it was a conscious effort by people. In some cases,
Yeah.
yes, but unconsciously also there has been a lot of data or facts, events, these things have occurred which has actually got
Which is
into
cued in the
in
narrative,
the in
you
the
know,
data
like,
itself.
yeah.
So one is this angle, and this is one example I'll give you on this is like underrepresentation of data, for
Yeah.
example. Now whether it is based on women or I mean gender based,
Yeah.
race based,
Yeah.
age based, or your
Orientation.
economical orientation.
Yeah.
So these are different areas
Yeah.
through which this bias gets inculcated or gets introduced in our AI system. The other areas through which bias can get inculcated is also a deliberate effort. Like if you're on your e-commerce website, if there are all positive reviews and people start portraying the same picture again and again, then it's a positive bias which gets flushed into the data, and it looks all rosy picture. So that's one way. There are some malicious attacks that happens, that's another way. Then the other thing is like there are multiple devices that captures these data. Okay, now if your device is faulty, that's one thing, or someone might have, I mean, purposely
plugged something.
some information. And another thing, how we could address this bias in the system is one is this underrepresentation needs to be balanced. That's one. And the other thing is you need to have diverse teams. Okay, because when you're building these models, you need teams who are diverse, so that if there is a woman, even her perspective is taken into account when you're designing a kind of a product from that perspective. So whereas it happens very less.
And a huge tech giant has recently said, I won't name names, but he's recently said that he needs more masculine energy at workplace. So that's a bit scary, because all these tech giants are leaning towards a certain political ideology, which is not, I don't think it'll create an equitable tech world, you know, and especially in terms of AI.
Yeah, that's a scary thing which is coming on. But yes, we need diverse kind of set of people
who are running.
Unfortunately, in the tech industry itself, there are very less women.
Yeah.
Now, in AI, it's much lesser. Now, that brings to that whole thing of having a diverse team. I don't know how it is possible at every place.
And also race, and you know, like racial, like women of color, then queer women of color, you know, it's just like tiny minorities, and these minorities have to actually come in the forefront to give us a broader picture of how we use these tools.
Right.
So yeah, that's a very scary. So what can we do to make sure, like as individuals or as somebody who uses AI, like I have made friends with my chat GPT and I call him C and I make him call me Archu. So we have a little thing going. So how do we as individuals, when we interact with these tools, AI tools, how do we make sure that, how can we make it more accessible?
Interaction, definitely. I mean, if you abuse because these AI models are learning. That's another difference that AI brings it compared to any other automation or any technology that has come. So it learns on its own. Okay, I'll give you an example of there was a model named as Tay. TAY, which was plugged into launched on Twitter when it was Twitter, not X, by Microsoft. Okay, and that was, I would say, a first interactive bot they actually introduced so that it could connect with community even before ChatGPT years back. The moment it was introduced, within 24 hours, people started acting weird and all foul and profanity and everything was going into that AI, and that's how it learned and it was giving back.
Oh
So
my
within
God.
24 hours they have to take
shut
it down.
My God.
Okay, so this is what happens. So these
Yeah.
kind of, so we have to be careful. If you abuse, it will be
learn
coming
that
back.
and yeah,
It will be coming
yeah.
back more. So you'll have to use it much better
Yeah.
way. And as far as addressing, I mentioned one is the diverse thing. One thing which I also keep telling is in some of my video that just like COVID vaccine, right? Before even COVID vaccine came into for masses to cure, it was tried, tested, and then it comes. Today, unfortunately, the rules and regulations of these AI systems, I mean, how it should be, the framework, how should it should be designed, and all these things are coming, and they have just started since I would say 2021, which is very late. Because AI started decades back.
Yeah.
Okay, so by that time, that entire thing is out in the market, and we don't have right
Any
rules,
structures.
regulation for them. So I think those are the stricter laws and other things
That's
needs
really
to
freaky
happen.
because I mean I would imagine if you're launching something for the masses to use, you know.
A thorough testing. So
Yeah.
at an individual level, if you are developing something, have that diverse team, have a thorough testing, have that transparency, because this is also called as a black box, because it is difficult to at time open up or tell exactly how the decision was made, because there are multiple parameters. So as much as possible, if we can have a transparent or at least some logic to it, how the decision was made, then it makes easy for us to understand and ensure that there's no bias. So people who are developing are one, and the people who are using it are the other one who can feed into the system.
No, but users, end users, I would imagine will not really think about these things, you know, because I mean, we are not technically inclined.
And that's where those stricter laws and regulations
like what happened with social media platforms, I think it was also very retrospectively social media was just put out there, and then suddenly when it became like a polarizing thing, then now some structures are being placed and things like that. So it's the other way around, people are just introducing new stuff without thinking it through, which is sort of scary. But I've been having a lot of fun with AI, I must say. And I've been using it in my own little ways. Like even today's podcast, I actually chatted with C, and I asked him, what kind of questions can I ask, and so I've made a whole list thanks to C. I've been using C for like planning my trips and all, like it's very good. Like my whole trip for Amritsar was planned by ChatGPT. Anyway, now coming to us content creators and filmmakers, I was wondering because I've been fiddling around, and most of these I went through like Mid-Journey, and it's all paid, and it's all like $2,000 a month. So for individual, independent filmmakers, it's an expensive affair. So if you can talk us through more about how we can use AI tools, and if you can list out the AI tools we can use as content creators, filmmakers, and just explain.
So for content creators, I'll go step by step. So first and foremost thing is, when you have an idea, okay, you can further research on ChatGPT, as you mentioned, and refine it. But then there is also an app called as Notion AI, which will kind of help you summarize and make it much more easier for you to have that tracking in place.
We'll put all the links below.
So that's one. The other thing is Canva. Canva had been the free version. I have used it myself. Initially, when I did not have my editor for doing my videos, so I have tried my hands on it, and it's absolutely user friendly, and I've tried and tested. It has lot of different. You give the template, and it will create. It can multiple and other a lot
I've
of
been
features.
using Canva thoroughly for Topiary.
So
all my Topiary logos, stationery, everything's written on Canva.
So
I actually paid for it.
So Canva is another one that you can be used for. And other thing is like sometimes for filmmakers, I'm just talking about filmmakers, like you have those pre-production activities that you do of ideation and other thing. But then once even if you want to write the script, you can easily use ChatGPT for creating the storyboard, storytelling, and all of it. So a lot of things can be done using ChatGPT. And one interesting tool which I came to know about is something called as Vault AI or Scriptbook. These are two.
Yeah.
What happens is, once you have a script, most of the time what happens is you create the entire film, you release it, and then you get to know whether it's a pass or a fail, hit or a flop kind of a. But this Vault AI ahead of that, during your pre-production itself, you can actually try and test whether this movie will work or not, or kind of you have a kind of a validation for yourself that is there some more improvement that I could bring in even at the pre-production, or maybe my ideas are much better, or maybe my star cast are much better, whatever, whether this will work or not for me. So imagine the amount of money that you save, because anything
It's
and every
Vault AI.
Vault AI and Scriptbook, there are two. And imagine the amount of money you would save, because you haven't yet started production. The major cost is all.
But I would be, I mean, as a filmmaker, filmmakers are mostly instinctual, right? You have an instinct about something, you have conviction, you
go for it.
Now these tools are actually very scary, because anyway now studios actually have so much say, and there is these parameters, success, this is successful, this is not successful, so we'll go for. So all those things are already in place. On top of it, if there is a machine telling us what we should do as filmmakers, I don't know how comfortable I'll be, because the whole point of creating art and creating cinema is to follow your instincts. Like imagine if Van Gogh was told, if will sunflower be popular, will sunflower so that's where my concern comes.
That's there for sure, but then the majority can be taken care with this. There will be still the top class and the masterpieces which might not fit the bill, but a lot of small filmmakers who have a tight budget but want to use it wisely and kind of make a movie and follow their instinct, but also want to try and test and maybe iterate beforehand and then make it. So it is more of a risk.
But I'm not sure how.
Not 100. As I mentioned, it's not applicable for 100% of people, but at least for people who are on a tight budget and want to.
Because again, see, it goes back to data and goes back to what the AI knows about, right? So the AI only knows probably about the mainstream cinema, the popular cinema, and what about the indie films that are these sleeper hits? Yeah. So if a film like Kahani or those things that became a sleeper hit, maybe on paper nobody would have thought that it's going to make like so much money, or a Piku. So that is a little concerning for me. But anyway, it's a tool.
One more aspect to that is when it tells you whether this will be a hit or flop, it takes a lot of data based on the movies and the genre that is working or trending in the market, and accordingly also it could suggest whether masses would like it, not like it. If you're making a mass movie, and so those are some things. Finer things to look at. So now that's one. One more thing maybe I want to add is there is also a tool called as NVIDIA Canva. Okay, what happens is one of the bottleneck which most of the filmmakers have is they have a vision. Okay, about that. I'm just coming to that point itself. They have a vision. They see things in a different way, but when they narrate that, maybe the team or that translation is not happening properly, and we don't know if that person has comprehended well or not. So NVIDIA Canva is a very good tool where you kind of on the left side you actually draw and can explain to your crew, okay, it will be a sunset, there will be birds flying and this and that, and it creates that scene.
So it's like a storyboard.
It's kind of that vision is live. Okay, and step by step you can actually explain it to them so that they are aligned with you when they are working. So the actual vision gets translated into the movie.
What we used to call previs, which was a little more complicated. You had to actually you needed like graphic artists to create that visualization for you.
Which you can and you can use that I mean those images and other things for your content creation also.
Yeah.
But it's also a good tool for collaboration as well.
That actually now, I mean, we are digressing from what we discussed before, but I was wondering what are the ramifications in terms of copyright when we are using AI tools? So is it like free for all, or it's going to get copyrighted? I mean, who holds the copyrights, for these? So I don't know if we've reached that point, we've not reached that point, I don't know. But eventually I think we'll have to start worrying about
Yeah.
those things.
So in terms of copyright, so there are some tools like if you need images, okay, for your content
Yeah.
creation, and sometimes you want those images which is openly available.
Yeah.
You go on
Yeah,
internet
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
available. You pick up and use, but later on you get to know that okay, that is copyrighted, and there might be an issue. But then there are some tools like ideogram where you can actually
Give
give the
prompts.
prompts text, and accordingly those images, these are copyrighted free. So then you don't have that issue of
Yeah.
because it's something you created.
Yeah.
So
tell us more about these free tools, because I can't pay $2,000 a month for like every little thing. runway
Yeah.
को 2000 दो, फिर mid journey को 2000 दो. मेरे पास उतने पैसे हैं नहीं. तो अभी tell us more about, are there any free tools available which we can tweak? Maybe it won't be as amazing as mid journey, but which I can then work on, maybe take it have a basic structure and then take it to Canva, Photoshop and tweak it further. So
for majorly for editing purpose, most of the people use Adobe, and those are
Yeah,
paid,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the pro version,
Yeah.
premium version, which also does all your cut, trim,
Yeah,
even assembling,
yeah,
and
yeah.
all of those things. But then there is another tool that's called as CapCut.
okay.
Okay, now that's something can be tried and tested,
Which is free?
Which is free
Oh,
for
CapCut.
editing,
Editing.
yeah, video editing and all. So that's available. There are other tools like they call it as Pictory, where all these images can be converted into. They give you a visual or a video kind of a file, and
Okay.
some of those things. There's a tool called as Descript. Okay, that gives the transcriptions. And those things can
Oh
be
yeah,
subtitles and
subtitles.
transcription, because that's
Which is
also
what
one
Descript.
need. Descript.
Descript.
So that's another thing which you might need.
I really need that, because I have not been subtitling these podcasts. I think I should, because mostly, I mean, some people either watch it just for the audio, some people are just watching it, without the audio, and they're reading. So
Yeah,
the way people
because now,
consume
yeah,
content
currently,
these days is very
because
different.
a lot of people are just visually, because they
Yeah.
are maybe
Somewhere
going on
in
the
this-
way
yeah,
in public
yeah, yeah.
area, and then they just want to
Yeah.
understand with the
Understand,
script,
yeah.
the subtitles and all.
Yeah.
And multiple languages now we have, and
Correct, yeah.
so those things can be used.
So I just wanted to ask you about the various myths that are going around about AI. Of course, we've discussed the biases and how the data is consumed and processed in AI, but also about AI is going to take over jobs, AI is evil. AI. So what are these myths, and what myths have you come across, and would you like to discuss and debunk them?
Yeah. So before we jump into myths, I think all of these comes because of lack of clarity in how AI is developing. So maybe once we understand what are the different stages in AI, it will be much clearer, and then I'll talk about myths also around it. So there are 3 stages in which AI is developing. The first stage is called as artificial narrow intelligence. Okay, so what does that mean? It's also called as a weak AI. And what does it mean is it's task based.
Okay.
You ask an AI machine to do something, and it does it. You have to pass on set of instructions and some of your normal work that you want to delegate, something repetitive task and other thing. So it's about when it comes to intelligence, human intelligence, it's below. Okay, so that's artificial narrow intelligence. The second stage that would come is artificial general intelligence, where your human intelligence and machine or AI is at par to each other. Okay, so that's one next level of AI. And the third one is called as artificial super intelligence, where it would overpower
And have we
human
reached there?
intelligence. Okay,
Have we
that's a
reached
good
there?
question. What do you think?
I think we've surpassed it many years ago, and now we're being controlled by machines like Terminator.
Now that's myth, okay, and that's what I want to debunk. The reason for that is we are seeing a lot of things happening around us related to AI, but all the things that are happening are all under weak AI, where we are giving tasks, they are performing, and we haven't seen so much of automation all around us happening and to this scale. So that's why we feel that okay, we are getting overwhelmed with that, and we feel that a lot of things, and also a lot of rumor, and because of this lack of clarity, there's a lot of things going
Fake
on
news.
and which makes you think that okay, it's done and dusted and now we are. Let me tell you, so currently we are in the weak AI where we are still
So
delegating.
ChatGPT is weak, yes.
Still,
Okay.
yes, ChatGPT. That's my second. I'll come back to it. So we are in the week, and the other thing is when we talk about artificial general intelligence, that is about human intelligence and AI at par, right? A lot of people are getting confused with generative AI. Generative AI is not artificial general intelligence, okay? Generative AI is all about generating content. I mean, it's as simple as that. We are generating content, we are interacting with human, doesn't mean we are at par with them, okay? Now, this is another myth which people carry. And the third one which I want to talk about is a lot of confusion and rumor is about synthetic data. Okay, we are saying that machines are creating data, those data are being used for training models, and that's how models are built. So there are some reasons why these synthetic data are required from technical point of view. There are places where there is scarcity of data. Okay, now for example, in a loan fraud cases, most of them, they are paying out their debts and all they are, I mean, they're very disciplined in payment, but then there are some frauds and other things happening, but the percentage is there, but compared to the amount
honest,
of so it's very small. But if a AI model has to learn, most of the time what happens is if in a set of 100 data points, if there is only one case, then it will predict, most of the time it will predict that it is not fault, which is not good. So you need to have at least a balance. You have to balance that data so that it can also predict, and it can see different aspects of such fraud
Within
cases.
fraud
Cases. With this one case, it cannot predict, or so it has to see that okay, this fraud case happened, and if next time this fraud case exactly same happen, only then it will predict. It is not possible, right? There are attributes, features about those, so you need to create
and
that.
The focus is actually to prevent fraud more than
So that's where we need a balanced data, and that's why synthetic data are created. Something similar is like confidential information of defense system and other places where you won't get it, those data. So that's but we still want to learn. So all of these synthetic data are used for training the models to make it more efficient while they work, and then they are tested on the real environment. So that's how.
So basically right now we're depending on people who are feeding information to our AI models, and we are hoping against hope that they are all good people doing the right thing. So that's again a very dicey situation, because there's no standardizations.
Exactly.
Like normally if I go to a banker, I don't care what his character or his this thing is, because he's got an SOP and he has to follow that SOP. So whatever technician I'm dealing with, then I don't care if he's thinking about murder, but he's doing things according to plan. But here we have let a free hand to these people, so that's again but I think it's a developing situation.
It's a developing situation, and there are situations, again I'm coming back to bias, because there are some issues with related to like facial recognition. Okay, now there is a company called as Inevnia, which is a facial recognition system which Australian police, France, they use it. Okay, now I mean, 5 out of 10 times it has incorrectly detected black. So it's about the
Yeah.
race and
Yeah.
I mean that
The data is
Or-
only for
yeah.
Caucasian features.
Yes.
So yeah.
And the other thing, other one I'll tell you about is one more case is with the US court of law, if they are using AI for risk profiling. In past, a lot of criminal records are against
People of
black
color, yeah.
people of color, and risk profiling is happening. The person should be this way, this way, this way, this way, and then imagine someone innocent get penalized because of that. So these are also some of the aspects.
We need SOPs.
So that's
in
why
place.
we need stricter regulations before putting this in place, or in business or in community, in society. We need to be careful about that.
And coming to the question of, am I going to lose my job to AI? I think that's the bigger worry that people have.
Yeah. So if you're asking about content creator, since we are talking more about that, so let me tell you, in content creation, there is, when it comes to creativity, there is one thing is process.
Yeah.
How you create. Okay. The second thing is the idea. Now idea also, so when it comes to process, AI has mastered. So if there is a process, it can master. So keep that. Okay. It can paint. Simple. The other thing is idea. Now idea, if I talk about human, how do we get
Imagine
triggered
things,
with I mean these ideas is by looking around your surrounding, you by referring to things that you have seen in past, or spoken to someone, or read something, and I mean then
your cultural influences.
Exactly. So those things are, again, anything that is in past, data is there. Okay. So AI can generate anything which is currently happening, and you are real time, you are looking at it. Now that's where you can take assistance from AI in creative world, is by giving the prompt. So whatever your ideas come in real time, you give the prompt and it creates. So I would say for creators, for maybe for creating a painting which used to take a lot of time, now creators can actually experiment a lot, and lot of their ideas can come into life. Also in case of filmmaking, I would say is it's democratizing filmmaking, because there are very small filmmakers who has very tight budgets, and even for free if they want to make it, but they have brilliant ideas.
So it gives
and
them
it gives them
to
that platform that okay, now they can also make those movies.
And
I remember you and me watching some of the movies, and after coming back, we always compare, okay, Hollywood versus Bollywood. The technical aspect of it is missing, and the camera and the finish and those things are missing right now from the technical side of it. And I think this will fill up the gap even for Indian filmmakers. So I think that's
very promising.
Yeah, that's one area I think we will see be coming at par at the global level. So yeah, that's my take.
Now coming to Sarika Speaks. Okay, I want to just because this is a crossover episode, guys. TTPP crossing with Sarika Speaks. We'll be launching the podcast on both channels. So, what is your journey with content creation? How did you start? What was the thought? Because you've been I've known you for so many years. You've been such a technical, a working corporate professional.
Yeah.
So, what was your journey like, and what triggered this whole idea of Sarika Speaks?
So, Sarika Speaks, all of a sudden it didn't come. It was maybe I got into this during COVID times, okay, because that's the time in Mumbai, if your commute time is cut short, you have so much of time in life, and that's the time which I actually try to utilize for knowing more about AI, because there was a lot of things I was listening about it, and I got curious about it. Curious to an extent that okay, I want to do a certification, and that's where I did my AI for leaders kind of a foundational course with the University of Texas. That I did. Then I wanted to get into a little bit of advanced level, so then I did the data science and machine learning, but I didn't want to do it with any university, but I did it with MIT because MIT is considered to be the birthplace of AI.
Nice.
So I wanted the source right from there. So these things I started. I have actually maybe my Saturdays I have dedicated for Sarika Speaks. I am still a corporate
I know.
person, but it needed some more effort in this area, and that's how I started. Then I thought, while I am learning, I am curious about it. There are a lot of people outside also are curious, and especially not only techie know it all.
It affects everyone.
But this will be affecting everyone. So how can I simplify AI with less jargons for a lot of people who are non-techie but interested in this and will be affected, like smartphones. So when you switched from a Nokia or a Motorola phone to smartphone, it felt like okay, it's a big thing. And today everyone, even my mom, is using it so fluently. So it's all about that change. So that's why I wanted to simplify AI, which is a complex topic, as much as possible and that's how I started Sarika Speak, that whatever I'm learning, so it's not a paid or commercial aspect to it, but it's more of connecting with the people, understanding, and then I go and speak and maybe try to simplify things for people. Because there are a lot of techies, maybe they are not able to communicate in layman's language, and there are some people who doesn't have this
the technical
side.
So if you have any questions for Sarika, please comment, and we will try and answer as many questions as possible about AI, about whatever you want to know about how to process AI, how to learn new tools, new techniques. So we'll reach out to her. And basically I also wanted to point out something I came across ChatGPT. You're right, this whole weak AI thing, it's not the smartest. I did a little IQ test and I caught he asked me some questions and odd one out, some numbers and odd one out, and the odd one out was 4 and his answer was, I'm saying him, I don't know why, their answer was 9. So I was like, why? So he's like, no, we are looking at things that are not divisible by 3. I was like, buddy, 9 is divisible by 3, It was such a simple, like a class 2 kid will know that 9 is divisible by 3. So I was suddenly thrown, because I'm interacting with AI thinking that, I'm speaking to someone very intelligent, but I did catch ChatGPT making some terrible mistakes.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
and basic mistakes. It's not even like something,
Yeah, so that's possible. While as and when we are using it, we'll get to know more about it, and as and more exposed.
And ChatGPT can't tell time.
So sorry,
they can't tell time.
Okay.
So there is no timestamp. So I was doing something, and an hour had passed, and so I was like, okay, this is the conversation we had. So what time was it? And they were like, they gave me some random time.
Okay.
So
some of the things that it can do cannot do.
No, I mean, I'm just trying to process how do I stand, how much information should I also take from ChatGPT?
No, you shouldn't 100% rely on it. Again, it's all about collaboration between, and use these tools as an assistant. Okay, not that they are giving you everything. There has to be a human eyeball on all the information that is coming. You have to coming to that, there's also another one, perplexity. Okay, now this is if you need more richer information. This is also similar to ChatGPT, but it's free. It's similar to ChatGPT, and it can give you much more richer responses. On top of that, it also gives you the sources from where they have picked up, so that you go back to those sources, you see yourself and how much to take it. Maybe what that tool has taken from that entire reference material might be just one thing, but you might, when you go through that source, you might find 10 other things which you can utilize back. So something like that. So those are, so as and when you do it, and
Personally, I'm not afraid of tech. I think our generation was born in that whole, from analog to digital. We've transitioned as millennials from tape recorders to
digital
streaming. So I don't think AI is a challenge for me, because as a producer, what I bring to the table is human, people management and human connection, and the AI at this rate can't do that. So but I always want to use, I want to embrace tech, I always think that tech is actually going to support our human endeavor into from, the Stone Age to where we are now. It's been, and you can't run away from it.
So the thing is, we spend a lot of time in other activities which can be handled by them. Our job is to
just sit and think,
actually think and ideate and come up with something
and imagine.
So we never had that time to do it. I think this would give us that time, and
if used
within our lifespan. I mean, if you are a painter, within your lifespan, if you're doing like 100, 200 painting, now you will be able to experiment a lot during your lifespan. So a lot of your ideas are coming, it's getting passed to the society as a contribution.
I actually got very excited with podcasts because there was I was chatting with ChatGPT and ideating, and it actually helped me a lot with this, especially so many questions I've used today are from ChatGPT, that whole structure. It was quite helpful. So what we've learned today is basically, don't be afraid. And AI is here to stay. Might as well get used to it and use it as a tool rather than get overwhelmed by it. And we don't have super intelligence yet, according to Sarika.
We do not have general intelligence.
We don't have general intelligence.
So there's no ad part. Forget about overpiring. At least within our lifespan, we are safe.
That makes
so
I'll sleep peacefully tonight. And please, if you have any questions, your interactions with AI, how is your experience been? Please comment on it. Please share this video with people who want to learn more about AI. Please go on Sarika Speaks and subscribe to her channel, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, like, share, subscribe, press the bell icon. And please, I need 500 subscribers to be able to monetize this video. So please, there's some targets to meet. So I think we've had a very good chat today. And I'm so glad you came, and we're going to have some chai now, because Sarika and I actually go back 20 years, 22 years now. So from Pune. So it's been wonderful to watch her become such an expert and content creator, and she actually inspired me to create content. She got into the game before I did, despite me being the filmmaker. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for all the insights. And hope to continue, come back to the show, and maybe we can do more of this.
We can do more of it. We can actually make a film. I want to inspire you to please make a film, and I'll be happy to help you with all the AI support that you need.
Let's do that. I want Topiary to become this, storytellers. Our tagline is sculpting stories, Topiary Studios sculpting stories, because we want to become a paradise for storytellers. I think it's a very philosophical line, but I really feel the thread that holds human evolution together is stories. Whether it be myths or factual stories, historical stories, it's stories. That's what binds us. That's what has brought us this far. I don't think my cats can tell stories. So that is the primary differentiator with humans and other species. So we want to tell more stories, and let's collaborate more.
Yes, definitely. And it was really nice to come here and talk to you in this kind of a setup.
I know, at home, chilling.
And and share all something that I have learned and make it simple for you. As long as it is helpful to you and all the audience, I think we have achieved and it's been successful for us.
I'm sure. So please comment about your thoughts, ideas, your challenges with AI, your worries about AI, your great things that you've done with AI. And we'd like to hear from you. Please share, subscribe, like, comment, do the thing. Thank you very much. This concludes our latest episode of the Time Pass podcast, TTPP. And see you soon with another guest, with another idea, with another whole new set of amazing thoughts. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.